Hey, so this morning I am going live with Julia.Dennison of Parents Magazine. So we're going to be talking mostly about how to pitch Parents Magazine, but we'll go over some other things too. It'll be a real fun morning. Oh, here comes Julia. What's up? There we
Hi.
go. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm just, here in snowy Syracuse. Just,
Snowy?
oh yeah, enjoying one of the seasons of April.
Oh my God. Well, it's freezing here, so I'm not surprised that it's snowing up there because it was wintry. And of course, like halfway walking to school, I was like, I definitely don't have my daughter in warm enough clothing. But I was like, it's okay. No turning back. Keep going. Keep going.
No turning back. No, I could only find one of Ari's snow boots, so he's in rain boots today. That's gonna just be great for.
Oh yeah, I've been there
Yeah,
before.
he won't be cold at all. It's fine. Okay, so thanks for joining me this morning.
Of
I'm really
course.
excited to chat.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Always happy to chat with you.
Yay. Okay, so I've already said this a little bit, but just for anyone who's popping on now, Julia is here from Parents Magazine. She is in charge of digital there, and we're going to be talking to her about how to pitch a story to parents and what they might be looking for right now. And Julia, we did get some questions beforehand, so
Oh, fun. Okay.
yes, I will mention those to you.
Cool.
But just like a quick background, Parents is part of Meredith Corporation, so under the same umbrella with Better Homes and Gardens, Real Simple, Martha Stewart. I mean, people.
People, yeah. So many brands now.
So many brands.
Yeah.
But obviously, Parents is most specifically for the moms and dads, the
Yeah.
parenting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So yeah, so here's the first question that we got about pitches. We'll start with those cues first.
Mhm.
What are the most in-demand types of stories that you want to see come across your desk?
I would say I'm always just looking for really interesting and unique parenting experiences. So if you feel like you've gone through something that other people would benefit from, if it feels like that might help validate somebody else in your position, if it feels like you're like, I'm going through something, because parenting, as we all know, can feel so isolating, and it can also feel just like you're the only person in the whole world going through something, and chances are you're not. So if you have a particular experience that you feel like you would have benefited as a parent from hearing other people speak about, that tends to be an essay topic. Essays or first person accounts are really ones that do really well for us. And I'm always interested in different stories. We do actually have one column that does pretty well for us, and that's called I'm a Mom And. So what it is, or it could be I'm a Dad And, but basically what it is we have parents speaking about what their area of expertise is, but like from the point of view of actually being a parent. So it could be like, I'm a mom and a pediatrician, like these are the vitamins I give my kids. Like, or it could be like, we had one that was like, I'm a mom and a privacy lawyer. This is what I actually worry about when my kids are online. So it's like topics it's like a service piece where topics that are interesting to parents, but it's extra fun to hear it from an actual parent who's been through it too. So that's always a good column that I always recommend thinking about. If you have an area of expertise and you're a parent and it applies to your kids, then, let us know. Yeah, but just essentially like any kind of parenting story topic that you find interesting, as long as we haven't covered it before, I'm usually pretty game.
And obviously there's a difference,
Ben.
right, between someone
I
who,
saw AJ.
Ben.
Clubhouse friend.
So obviously there's a difference between someone coming in and gesturing that they would like to write a piece versus someone saying that they can come in and act as an expert. Can you talk a little bit about the differences?
Oh yeah, so there's all kinds of different opportunities. If you're feeling like a writer and you really kind of like there's an essay in you and you really want to write about an experience, then like please by all means pitch that idea. But also if you're an expert in a specific subject that we might be covering generally, let us know too, because I'm always interested in hearing from people who might be sources for stories. We're always looking for as diverse as possible as stories. So you might be both. You might write, be able to write an essay for us, but then you might also be available as a source for a subject. So yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. The next question. What is the best way for someone to submit a pitch?
You know, as much as I like to hate on email, I feel like until we've solved for that. Oh, Akriti, she's so sweet. Akriti's been writing some really awesome stuff for us. And actually, she's a great example. So she wrote about Holi, the holiday, for us. We hadn't had anything on site about it, and she did a great job with that. Padma Lakshmi actually shared her story that she wrote for us for parents, which is awesome. And she's an example of somebody who pitched us stories to write, which is awesome. But we might also, potentially use her as a source also for other stories we're working on. Anyways, so email, I think, is probably, to answer your question, the best way to pitch me. So Julia.Dennison@meredith.com is my email, and you're welcome to pitch me there. I'm pretty active, though, as you know, on both Clubhouse and on Instagram. So if you want to DM me on Instagram, hugs, then yeah, Akriti's story was so good. Then my DMs are open, and I'm always, and if you see a meme or something funny, or if you see something that's like in the zeitgeist and trending and you're not entirely sure what the story is there, but you're like, hey, I've noticed this happening, then please, I'm probably on social media a lot, but sometimes I don't always see things. So if you want to pitch it my way, whether or not it's something you feel like you want to contribute, or if you're just like, hey, like parents should be covering this, always feel free to DM me.
I love that. Yeah, I'll make sure that in the notes, I'll publish this to my feed. I'll make sure your email is in there.
Yeah, so totally happy to have people email me. Mm-hmm.
But okay, so next question: are contributors paid?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We pay everybody who writes for us. That's really important. I mean, we're a big publication, and absolutely we always pay our writers. And I mean, I suppose there's instances where if it's like if you've written a book and it's like an excerpt from your book and it's sort of like a publicity thing, then there might be, but for the most part, if you're writing for us, we're paying you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And this will be a fun one. What is something you don't want to see? Whether it's the manner of the way an email is written or subject matter, is there anything that just makes you go, oh, no, don't do that?
I'd say I sometimes I get just like really vague pitches that are like basically like, I'm a mom and I've had a really like tough time this year, and I'm like, yeah, me too. We all kind of have. Not to say, I mean, I want to hear more. I'm never going to be like, go away. But I just, right off the bat and be like, okay, so, but like, what exactly is your pitch? And I think the important thing to remember if you're writing for a website, mine or any of them, we really can't run things twice because everything lives on our site in perpetuity. Which is an uphill battle, and we're constantly trying to update things. So we might have a really old piece. You might notice that you're an expert on a certain subject. Maybe you're a lactation consultant, and you see that our article on one of our articles on breastfeeding is super old, needs to be updated. Like, I still want to know about that, and let me know, because that's another way to work with us, is to help us update existing pieces. That's like an uphill battle for us, because I always say that like every single piece on parents.com is like a front door, because so much of our traffic comes through search. So many people are coming to us through Google. I want to make sure whatever they see first, it may not be the homepage. It may well be an article that they've Googled. I want that to be the best impression that they could ever have of us at the site. And I want it to be the most up to date it could possibly be. So we're constantly trying to update stories, but that's also to say we're never going to run the same story twice, because it's always going to kind of live on in perpetuity. So I always say double check to make sure that we don't have it first. And one little trick for that is, and this is a really kind of little specific technical thing, but if you put into your search bar in Google site : and site : parents.com, but it could be vogue.com, it could be anything. Site : parents.com, and then whatever you're looking to write on. So say like formula feeding or breastfeeding, then that's going to pull up every single article that we have on site around that topic. So that's a really quick and easy way for you to check whether we have it already. And a really good pitch might be, hey, I've seen you had this, but like, what about this? So yeah. But then if I see it's something we have exactly the same as what we already have, then I'm just going to turn around and say, like, I like this so much that we already have it, so there's nothing I can do with it. Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense. I love that trick. It's the
Yeah.
best. I'll put that in the notes as well because
Yeah.
man, that's a good one.
For everybody.
Okay. Question. Things that are timely, whether because it's, you know, happening right now or for an upcoming holiday like Mother's Day or something. What's the difference when you're interested in pitching something like that to digital versus print? Can you speak a little bit to timeline?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny because people think, well, print works way ahead and digital doesn't. And to a certain extent, you know, we can be really kind of like, we can turn things around really quickly. But more often than not, if we're writing about a holiday, then we're looking for search traffic. And if you're looking for search traffic, then you want to make sure that your story is up long enough for Google to actually register it, and you know, the little Google spiders to crawl. So that means that we're actually looking to put up. We know that Mother's Day is coming. We always do, and I know that we live in unprecedented times. So like, you know, we do aim to try and basically put up a story 3 to 6 months, even up to 6 months ahead of time. But we do recognize that this year was a particularly unique one. So maybe 6 months ago, we wouldn't have necessarily known what Mother's Day was going to look like in terms of whether we'd be able to see family, whether people would be vaccinated. So this is a little bit of an anomaly this year. So we've been probably doing things a little bit more last minute. But yeah, we're probably thinking about 3 to 4 months ahead of time when it comes to the kind of like holiday content. So we're definitely working on summer stuff right now, and even thinking about. We're already getting client pitches around back to school, so we're already there in our head. So feel free, and it's usually like never too soon to pitch. I don't know. I sort of feel like if it's a really good pitch, then we might take you up on it anyway. So yeah.
Okay, but that sweet spot is in that 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, I'd say realistically, just because we're so busy, we're probably doing things about 3 months ahead, and sometimes it's quicker than that because it may be like for Mother's Day, perfect example. We're kind of like, oh wait, actually we might have like a couple more things that we might want to do around Mother's Day, and we might do them at the last minute. And we'd still probably get the search traffic, but we'd certainly get like, you know, social Facebook traffic and Instagram and everything else. So yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us anything that's coming up this spring? Any insider's notes on anything exciting?
Yeah, one thing I'm super excited about. Actually, I'm excited about a lot of things. I'm trying to be. We have for Pride, right? I don't know if everyone read that. What was the New York Times article about languishing? Like,
yes.
That's what I mean. I'm like trying to be excited. Anyways, no, we do have some exciting things coming up. So most exciting is in June for Pride Month. We're going to do a guide to coming out for parents of LGBTQ kids or parents generally who are just trying to educate themselves in terms of how they might support their kids, no matter, you know, how they want to identify, or even before kids even know, you know, how they would identify. So really, it's just going to be like a real resource guide with information on terminology, healthcare, what it means to, you know, what it means to be, to transition, what it means to be bisexual. Also just like some context in terms of like, I really think Gen Z is such an interesting generation. There's so much more fluidity when it comes to sexuality and gender. So talking about that context. And we're partnering with Lady Gaga's foundation, the Born This Way Foundation. So that should be really cool. And they do a ton of stuff for teens, especially around mental health. So we'll be doing that, and that will be for June, which I'm really excited about. And we want that to kind of live on forever as just a kind of resource guide that parents can and you know, found families, and not just, you know, biological family, but whole support networks can access for resources. So that's cool. And then my podcast, We Are Family, which I just won an award for yesterday. I was like, I never win anything, so I'm like,
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we're going to be doing season 2, and so that's all about the diversity of families today and like what it means to be a family. And so we're going to be doing season 2 of that this summer. We're starting to record it this spring. So looking for really interesting family stories for that too.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So I do have a question that's unrelated to pitching, but before I ask, is there anything else you want to say or clarify about pitching, or are we good there?
I think we're good. I'm always just, I'm always open and curious. So feel free to send me ideas. Yeah.
Okay.
We have to do like 15 stories a day plus. So that's why I'm always like, there's just no shortage of content to go out on parents. So it's always looking for new ideas.
Totally. Okay. So this question, you might want to, okay, Ben, you might want to answer this as an expert, or you may want to give some advice on how they would get this information from your website. So you decide. But the question is, do you have any advice for a step parent of 2 girls?
Oh, okay. Well, so this is something that's sort of close to home for me because I'm a single mom and I co-parent. And I am not married, so I don't have a step parent on my side, but my daughter's dad lives with his girlfriend, so she's a kind of like a step parent. So I've definitely been like navigating this water personally. I guess the advice would just be it sort of depends on what their question is. We've certainly covered a lot of it. And I think that's something, when there's an aspect of parenting that interests me personally, I sort of have a habit of kind of diving into that just because it's personally interesting to me. And that was sort of the inspiration behind doing We Are Family, the podcast I did, and I co-hosted with Sean T, just because I felt a little bit like, as a single mom, co-parenting, sometimes I'd look at Instagram and I'd think, hey, wait, all these families look so kind of like perfect and nuclear. And I feel like, am I the only one out there that's like, has this sort of blended family? And of course, no. I mean, like, we start to see statistics that say that the non-nuclear families are outnumbering the nuclear families. And like, so what we think of as a normal or we think of as like a sort of the standard family, there is no such thing. So I feel like it's important, and parents, and this is why, I would say that they should definitely go on to our site and, again, if you want to sort of do site:parents.com and then step parents, you'll see everything we do on step parents and blended families.
There it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so much information out there, but I think like that is something that I think is really important for a big site like mine, a big parenting site like mine, is to just really kind of like normalize different family dynamics. And that very much includes step parents and blended families. And I think that's something that's being spoken about a lot more. And it's so hugely, it takes a village. We talk about that a lot, but a step parent is so, and I always tell the story about how I remember my daughter was at her dance recital, and this was pre-pandemic, but I was always a little jealous of these little nuclear families that they'd pick up their kid and they'd be the husband and wife or whatever. And then I realized when we had her dance recital, with our blended family, we took up like an entire row of the dance recital. So it's like, actually, it ended up being that our village was bigger. And so I think that's sometimes often true with step parents and the extended families and whatever village setups, whether you're like, I think Ben lives with I think it's his godson or something, like there's so many interesting dynamics of what it means to be a family today. And I just always think like the more people in your kid's life that's there to love your kid, the better. So it's all positive. So I'll answer your question because I don't really know like what advice they're looking for, but we got it on parents. And if we don't, email me, because that's something that I think I really want to cover more and more.
Excellent point. Yeah. So, all right. So we talked about pitching a ton. We had some parenting advice. It was great. The last thing I wanted to touch on with you, Julia, before we jump off is Clubhouse. For one, because you actually host a really awesome room. Is that continuing? Do you want to talk about that?
I'm trying to do it every Friday if I can, or every other Friday. But it's sort of like, it's been a little bit of a nutty time, so sometimes it doesn't always happen. But Megan Harper and I do it together, and it's just it's a sort of like it's no such thing as weekends. We do it at 9 p.m. on Fridays on Clubhouse. And it's basically just highlighting the fact that as a parent, sometimes it's like, people are like TGIF and you're like, what even is Friday? Especially now in the pandemic when everything is just one big blur. But it's really just a moment for us all to talk together, just be really honest about everything we've gone through that week in terms of like what's been great, what's been less great. that's just my MO. I think the more honest we can all be about parenthood, and like the more we can share our unique stories, the more we might be helping somebody else out there. And that's why I really have found a lot of solace in Clubhouse. And actually, I'm going to be moderating the Clubhouse room in 10 minutes. And it's because it's okay. So here's something funny, right?
Yeah.
It's take your kid to work day today.
Okay.
It used to be take your daughter to work day. Then it was take your daughter and son to work day. And now I think it's still take your daughter and son to work day, but everyone's laughing because like this last year has been like every single day. It's take your kid to, it's take your kid to work day. So like, what does that even mean? But yeah. Humble brag, I had a really cool take your daughter to work day when I was a kid. I got to go to my mom's friend to Scholastic at a time when the Babysitters Club was like peak Babysitters Club time.
Stop that.
So that was a really cool thing. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to be talking about normalizing getting your kid on Zoom and not apologizing for it, because I do think like the more we see that parents are still going through it, I'm sure a lot of kids are back in school, but like not a lot, not everybody. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so basically go find Julia on Clubhouse. It's a good time. If you need invites, I know I have some, so for sure
DM me. I've got like 10 or something like that.
Great. DM us. Get on Clubhouse. It's a great time. Julia, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me. So sweet. I always love chatting with you.
Yay. Okay, we will talk soon. Have a great Clubhouse room, and good morning, everybody, and goodbye.
Thanks, Kate.
Like, comment, and hit subscribe. Don't forget to tap the bell so that you get a notification every time a new video comes out. One more thing, I have a free gift for you. You can download a copy of my Success Capture System. It's a tool that I use with my one-on-one clients, but you can get your copy now. Just click the link